I still remember the exact second the room went quiet. Not the polite kind of quiet, the kind that tells you a decision has already been made about who you are. The kind where conversations pause, eyes drift towards you, and someone in charge clears their throat like they're about to say something reasonable. That isn't. "Sir," the man said, smiling without warmth, "I'm going to have to ask you to step aside. These cars aren't really for browsing." That was his word, browsing. I stood there, hands relaxed at my sides, wearing jeans that had seen better days and sneakers I liked because they didn't hurt my feet. Nothing about me screamed money, nothing begged for attention. And in that place, that was apparently a crime. I could feel it the way they measured me in half a second and found me lacking. Not angry yet, just dismissed. And the funny thing, I almost laughed, because this wasn't my first time being erased in a nice room with expensive floors. I didn't grow up walking into places like that. I grew up learning how to stay quiet, how to read people before they read you, how to survive without announcing yourself. I learned early that confidence doesn't always wear a suit, and power almost never raises its voice. But none of that mattered to the man standing in front of me. He shifted his weight, blocking my line of sight to the car behind him like a human velvet rope. Polished shoes, perfect hair. That look people get when they think they're doing you a favor by putting you in your place. "Do you have an appointment?" he asked. "No," I said calmly. His smile tightened. "Then I'm afraid we can't." "I'm interested in that model," I said, nodding toward the car behind him. Not touching it, not even stepping closer, just stating a fact. A couple nearby stopped, pretending not to listen. Someone else glanced over, curious now. I could feel the air change, not in my favor, but in anticipation. The man laughed, not loud, just enough. "That one starts at 300,000, he said. "I'd hate for you to get embarrassed." There it was. That little assumption people make when they think they're smarter than you. I didn't correct him. I didn't explain. I didn't pull anything out of my pocket or try to prove a point. I just nodded slowly like I was taking in new information. "Thank you," I said. "That won't be a problem." He didn't believe me, not for a second. And honestly, that hurt more than I expected. Not because I needed his approval, but because I recognized the look in his eyes. I'd seen it before. The look people get when they think you're small enough to be careless with. As things escalated, I stayed quiet. Another employee joined him. Then a manager. Same tone, different words, polite, professional, and sharp around the edges. They kept saying things like policy and right fit and our typical clients. No one asked what I did for a living. No one asked my name. They just kept closing the circle. At one point, a security guard drifted closer, not aggressive, just present, like a suggestion. I remember thinking, this is how it always goes. Not loud, not dramatic, just a series of small choices that add up to one clear message. You don't belong. I felt that old familiar pressure in my chest, the one that used to make me want to shout, to prove, to demand respect. Years ago, I might have done exactly that. But I'd learned something since then. Silence makes people careless. So I let them talk. I let them justify. I let them dig. I watched how quickly they got comfortable assuming the worst about me, how easily they explained my presence away, how confident they were that there would be no consequences. That part was almost fascinating. Almost. Then someone crossed a line. It wasn't the words, it was the tone. The way one of them leaned in and said quietly, "Let's not make this difficult." That's when I knew. This wasn't a misunderstanding anymore. It was a choice. I took a slow breath, felt the ground under my feet, and made a decision of my own. "Before I go," I said, still calm, "I'd like to make a quick call." The manager scoffed. "Sir, this isn't—" "It'll take less than a minute," I said. "After that, if you still want me to leave, I will." Something in my voice must have shifted because he hesitated. Just for a second. Long enough. I stepped aside, pulled out my phone, and dialed a number I knew by heart. When the call connected, I didn't raise my voice. I didn't pace. I just spoke plainly. "It's me," I said. "We're moving forward." That was it. I hung up and slipped the phone back into my pocket. The room felt different after that. Not because they suddenly respected me, but because uncertainty had entered the space. And uncertainty makes people nervous. They asked who I'd called. I didn't answer. We waited. A few minutes later, everything changed. Phones started buzzing. Someone's face went pale. The manager stepped away to take a call, then came back quieter than before. The confidence had drained out of him like air from a tire. He looked at me differently now, not friendly, not apologetic, concerned. I may have misjudged the situation, he said. I smiled not out of triumph, but recognition, the kind you give when someone finally realizes they've been playing the wrong game. I think you did, I said. That's when I introduced myself. Just my name, nothing else. The reaction was immediate. Someone else in the room froze. Another employee's eyes widened like they'd seen a ghost. I didn't enjoy it. I just observed it the same way I'd observed everything else. A moment later, the truth landed fully. Who I was, what I did, why I was there. And suddenly everyone could afford to be respectful. That part. That's the part that stayed with me. The apologies came fast, awkward, overlapping. Too late. If I had known you were, we didn't realize that this isn't how we usually. I raised a hand gently. That's enough, I said. I understand. And I meant it. I understood exactly how they worked. I didn't yell. I didn't threaten. I didn't take pleasure in watching them squirm. I said one thing, just one. If you had known who I was, I said, you would have treated me differently. Silence. That's the problem. No one argued, because there was nothing to say. I didn't stay long after that. I didn't need to. The point had already been made clearly, cleanly, without cruelty. I walked out the same way I walked in. Same clothes, same posture, same quiet steps. But the air felt lighter. Not because I'd won, but because I'd stayed myself. People love stories where someone flips the table, humiliates the villain, burns the place down on the way out. I get it. Those stories feel good. This one felt different. This one felt real. I didn't change who I was that day. I didn't become louder or sharper or harder. I didn't turn into someone else to earn respect. I just let the truth arrive on its own time. And I learned something important. Most people don't judge you because they're evil. They judge you because it's easy and because they think it's safe. Until it isn't. I think about that sometimes when I walk into a room now, about how many people are being measured wrong in quiet ways no one films, how many doors close softly instead of slamming, and I wonder how different things would be if respect didn't depend on appearances, or assumptions, or net worth. So let me ask you, do you think people treat others based on character, or based on what they think that person can afford? And have you ever been underestimated in a way that changed how you see the world? Tell me in the comments.